Hey everyone, it is Tuesday, April 19th, 2022. It's about 8:30 or so p.m. and I thought I would do a short video because yesterday I got my second COVID-19 booster shot, the Moderna shot, and whew, man, it has hit me quite hard as far as fatigue. I have not had a day like today since I was in chemotherapy, and it seems as if I got hit by a freight train as far as being sore, having a slight headache, soreness at the point of injection, a little bit of chills, and just overall really fatigued. And luckily I looked up very quickly what the common side effects are, and those are them. So not so much worried about it, but you know, if you're experiencing the same thing, do look it up and try to make sure you are within the parameters of what's normal reaction for the shot, so you don't panic yourself. I was trying to think of a subject for today, and I think a really good one that doesn't have to be that detailed is role-playing games that I've always had a feeling that as I've watched these games progress, longer than I wish I would have to say I have, but I remember my very first experience after, you know, I had gotten the original, the old second edition Dungeon Master's Guide and the Player's Handbook and a few other various items from that era. And I must have been in my early teens, and dork would not be able to even describe what where I was at, but that would be about right. And this is long before being a nerd was a cool thing to be. So I remember being invited to older kids' house. There's something to watch right there. That's a red flag always. Whom I didn't know very well, through a couple of my friends, and I remember it being very unpleasant, to say the least. And the reason for that is the dungeon master, whose name escapes me. I have no idea. Never played with these people again. But you know, basically, here's your character. This is what you get. I've already done it up. Now, that's half the fun. I mean, what you're supposed to be doing is really having fun, bottom line. That's the whole point of role-playing games. And I'm not saying that you need to ignore the rules, but you have a lot of leeway with role-playing games as far as you can really make it as controlled an environment, or as much as a conversation, really, with dice. And so I was given, if I remember correctly, I was a cleric. I certainly wasn't interested in the character. You know, they were very, just, you know, we know how to play this game, you just sit here and do what we say. And needless to say, by the time the afternoon was done, the thing I remember most about it is we were in some room where obviously the floor was on some kind of fulcrum, and we had to figure that out, and we couldn't. And I remember very little after that. So after that, not being able to be turned off to D&D, in particular Dungeons and Dragons, I, you know, luckily found, really met one of my best friends that way. And you know, as you age a little bit in high school, I'm glad to say that being a nerd didn't stick forever. But we played second edition, and you know, there's a lot of things that a dungeon master can do to make the experience really enjoyable. And here's what I would suggest. Number one, have a very coherent outline of the main quest that the characters are going on. Now, you could have the outline planned for, say, 12 sessions, approximately 5 sessions, whatever you like, but have a goal in mind. This will really make it a fantasy story. A story that, you know, they need to find an enchanted ring, and once they do find this legendary ring, it can bestow power upon a kingdom that has been cursed, or what, you fill in the blanks of whatever your imagination can come up with. But that way, there's always a end goal. And that would be my number one piece of advice. Do the work ahead of time. Really write up a small synopsis of where they're going to go, what their destination is, and what's the point of the campaign. Number two, take the time to do the details out. Now, I haven't for many years been able to really do a detailed campaign as I used to, but I really went all out. And what makes it fun for people are those small little extras that you do. For instance, I sometimes would have a recording that they would have to listen to. I printed up the actual papers that they would find, and I put them on. I'm going to do a video about how to make your own paper to make it look as if it's an ancient scroll. And they had to read it themselves. And then many times I put these in codes. And all these little details really help people really enjoy themselves. So you kind of have props as much as you want to. And it just makes it a lot more fun. Then, third, I would say, you know, you can have a random encounter all the time, just to keep things moving. You know, you also don't want to have everything set so you know exactly what's going to happen every moment of the game. You know, it's fun for the dungeon master to see what happens as well, and you know, throw in a few wild cards there, and this is also going to make a huge difference, so it's not predictable. It's even fun maybe to that day do a little research on an enemy or a monster that you didn't plan on using, and you may just have some more fun seeing what its abilities are. Now, I'm going to do other videos on this, but I created a very intricate world where I had political structures, maps of what the known areas were in the world, the name of the world, non-player characters. Obviously, I went all out, and this again will make the whole thing a much better experience for everyone. But you don't have to go to that detail for everything. If you're just starting out, make a town, make a small hamlet or village, and just get some interesting characters in there. There's so many items that you can buy that give non-player characteristics. You can collect some great fantasy pictures to give a idea of the players of what these characters look like. And again, small details. Then lastly, I would also say, have the sense to know when you can cut them a little slack as far as proceeding in the game. Now, I don't want to suggest that the characters can't die. Many of them have in my campaigns. My characters have died, and sometimes it happens. But, you know, if your things are going really well, and you being the dungeon master, or if it's a different game, the game master, whatever you want to call it, you can give them a little leeway. I mean, if something really comes down to, wow, this is just going to take the entire campaign and just throw it completely off, give them another chance. Give them. I used to use what I would call luck points, and I would tell them, listen, this is what you could do at the end of each campaign, or each section of a campaign. I would say, you can spend some of your experience on luck points. And these, I could do a more detailed video about later, but the luck points, basically, if you used 1 luck point, you could re-roll a die. If you used 5 luck points, you could say, okay, that blow that just decapitated my character, if I use 5 luck points, can I re-roll my defense? And that way, at least there's a chance to proceed, because really, dying in the beginning of a game, it's a downer, especially for new players. I mean, it doesn't really make anybody enthused to keep playing, and you know, it also depends on the players. You know, some people really just don't handle it well, and that's unfortunate because it's just a game. But you know, cutting them a little slack and having actual ways that they can possibly, I mean, your heroes here. Your heroes are supposed to be extraordinary. So, to sum up, yes, sometimes they die. Now, in that instance I gave, where if they get a second roll about their character dying and it didn't work, well, then they died. And maybe they were attached to the character. Maybe they want to ask if they could wrap the body and find a holy cleric or whatever. You know, it depends. It's really limitless. But that would be my suggestion there. And, you know, as I've proceeded up through the years into different Dungeons and Dragons being the main game, but played everything from Star Frontiers, Gamma World, a few of the different Dungeons and Dragons, which I have to admit, I still enjoy the 2nd edition rules the best. I think that gave the most leeway for you to really have fun, and you can kind of make it as rule-oriented as you want, or you can kind of bend it a little bit. I think it's 4th or 5th edition. There's a couple, I have to look it up. I didn't really care for. Really enjoyed playing Pathfinder with another group of friends a few years ago now, maybe 7, 8 years ago. And I enjoy that game very much. I do think that it was really just another version of Dungeons and Dragons, which it is. But I liked it a lot. I liked the way it was set up. And for me, I would use a lot, when I was being the game master or dungeon master, I would use a lot of what I had learned over the years from Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition. You can be very precise with Pathfinder, where there's charts and graphs, and every figure has to move in exactly a certain way. And I think you can play with that a little and give some leeway, as I said. All this makes the whole experience a lot more fun, and I think it's something to consider, and I'd like to hear everyone's comments. If you agree, if you disagree, maybe tell me what your favorite role-playing game is. I'd like to hear about some others that I'm not aware of, although I know quite a few, but there's probably many, many that I don't know. And just see if you agree on my style of playing as a game master. And, you know, if you like the channel and this is informative for you, please subscribe and like it. I would appreciate it, because I want to really get this going. So until next time, be kind to one another whenever you can, which is almost all the time. And always be kind to animals. They need us to look out for them. All right? And have a good night. Peace.